Alright, so I just finished watching the first episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law on Disney Plus. Quick summation, quick review. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. The character is largely insufferable. The CG, it's hit or miss because it's inconsistent. I'm not as bothered by it because I kind of got used to it, I suppose. It's just the character, the story, some of the beats of the plot are just fucking stupid. It's just idiotic. I'm here on the website because I'm not exactly sure what all clips you could show without getting a DMC takedown, because this is not going to be a glowing review of it. Not at all. It's not, because I didn't think that this isn't a good first episode, because it doesn't make a good first impression. Because, like, for example, there are a couple parts in there with the male gaze, and like it's basically very much SJW PC bullshit. It's just, it's almost unbelievable how much they shoehorn that shit in there. Because basically the way it starts is Jennifer in her human form is preparing for the closing arguments of this one case that she's working on. She kind of flashes back, breaking the fourth wall, which some people like. I'm not a big fan of myself, but whatever. But it can be done if it's actually funny, but it's not funny. But anyway, she flashes back to a couple months ago. Her and Bruce were driving in a car. She was driving because Bruce he created some type of thing on his arm that keeps him in his banner form. He had just had surgery. They get into a car accident because there's a spaceship that pops up in front of them. Basically, Jen gets cut as she's escaping the vehicle. She's got to get Bruce out because of course. Which eye rolling to some other people probably maybe not even notice. I don't know. But anyway, his blood gets on her. She hulks out. Runs away. She wakes up. She's kind of sitting there, got a little, cuts and, like some of her clothes has got some blood and shit on it. She goes into a bar, into the bathroom. She's going to start trying to clean up. These girls come in and see her and stuff. They give her, oh, what happened to you and everything. They give her some shoes, clothes, all that kind of shit. She comes out, she's outside waiting for Bruce to come pick her up. And these 3 guys are out there. And of course, they got to start hitting on her. And when she, kind of rejects their advances, they got to continue and continue and continue until she gets mad, hulks out, beats them up. Then she wakes up in basically that tropical island place that Banner took her to, where he's going to train her. They have some bullshit where she kind of rejects the whole idea of being a superhero. That's when they do the whole scene where he has her in that container and does the whole spinning saw blade things, and she breaks out and everything, and he's jealous. She even says at one point she's the better Hulk because she could control her transformations easier. She's in control right away and stuff. It's just ridiculous. Then they have some of the training stuff. That's the one where he throws the rock, then she throws the rock even further and celebrates, and then he's like grabs this bigger boulder and just hucks it completely off the screen, which is kind of funny, because he's like, I just wanted to show you. And she's like, well, I'm showing and everything. But just the way they do it is that's when she starts coming off kind of smarmy and just kind of just insufferable, to be quite honest. It's one of those things where it's like, what the hell, Yeah, that's this part there. But anyway, then it goes on, and she kind of passes all of his stuff, because there's the yoga part where she does it better than him, and she's just doing so much better than him in pretty much all aspects, especially early on. Then they have a fight because she wants to leave, and he's stopping her, because he's saying you got to regulate your emotions, you got to control your emotions, because one freak out, could mean lives being lost. And she gets, super pissed because she's like, I'm infinitely better at controlling my emotions than you because I got to do it every day. And basically talking about how, I have a man, an incompetent man explain to me an area of my job that I'm great at. Or, when I get catcalled, when I do this, and it's like, oh my fucking God, dude, are you serious? More of that bullshit. So anyway, she transforms, they start fighting. He's basically, they're evenly matched at best, but there's also another part where he shows her the thunderclap and he knocks her down, and then she tries it, and the first time she does it, whap, hits her hands, nothing. He kind of smirks. So she does it again, and a little bit, but not much. Then she does it again and again and again, and she just starts slapping her hands together, like quickly and hard, and it's knocking Banner, Hulk, to the ground, and he's rolled up in a fetal position. And she's basically using his own technique to completely punk him out. It's like what the fuck, It's like you can't give the Hulk any credit whatsoever. Like they make him out to be a complete chump. Like it's almost unbelievable. Like how bad they're making him look. It's like the previews and stuff made it look bad, and there's in that show that's all there is basically, just her punking him out, her being better than him. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Even like, I'm not a big fan of Mark Ruffalo because he's a little too like Holly weird or whatever. But it's like still, it's like they're just completely punking him out. It's ridiculous. Anyway, she ends up going back, becoming a lawyer, present day. She's getting ready to give her closing arguments. That's when Titania busts in. They don't name her, and if you didn't know the character, if you didn't know who that's supposed to be, you'd have no idea because it doesn't really look like her. She doesn't really do much. Now she breaks through the wall, and you're like, okay, well, obviously she's a little superpowered. I mean, that's your only indication. And that's when Jen's friend tells her, do the thing, do the thing. And she takes her shoes off and all that shit, and turns into She-Hulk, and basically takes Titania out with one punch. One freaking punch. Just bam, knocks her. She goes flying into the wall. Here's Titania. But anyway, and it's like, that's it. That's how the episode ends. Right there, where people are like looking at her. Oh, now we know from the basically synopsis or the critics or whatever that Jen's gonna get, and actually the story. She gets fired and she's gonna get hired to do the superhero law and all that shit. But it's like, if you did, if you're a fan of Titania, you're probably upset. Not that she has a ton of fans, I wouldn't imagine, but she's got some. She got to. If you're a fan of the Hulk, you'd be upset because he looks like a complete chump. If you're a fan of the She-Hulk, you're probably upset like I am because they make the character insufferable. She just the way the constant digs and stuff. They're supposed to be like smart ass remarks and everything, but it's the way that they wrote her is basically the way that you would write the antagonist. That the main hero, that the protagonist is supposed to be beaten in the end. It's like, the way most movies go is you have your protagonist, and you have your antagonist, and the antagonist, if they're like friends or connected in any way, is like an insufferable jerk. And then eventually the antagonist gets to come up at the end of the movie. Well, they have Jen acting that way from the very beginning. And like I said, she's insufferable in ways. It's like, why would you have your character be doing that? I don't understand. That's one of the biggest problems that a lot of these more modern writers have, is where they'll have their character be without flaws. She's perfect right off the bat. And it's like the hero's journey is supposed to be about the main character failing and getting back up. Failing, trying again. And you don't want to do it too many times, but it's got to happen at least a few times where the character basically fucks up in some way and then has to overcome that. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go through. There's some other shit. I don't know. This website, like I said, I'm just on Marvel.com, so I'm not exactly clear on what you can play clip-wise and stuff, so I don't want to play any of that shit and get this takedown, because it's not going to be, this isn't a glowing review at all. Like I said, I would give it a 4 out of 10. And honestly, I think maybe those 4 points come from the fact that I'm a She-Hulk fan. I am hopeful, optimistic, maybe foolishly so, that the series isn't as bad as it seems, because it seems bad. But yeah, I'm fingers crossed that it gets better. I doubt it will, because it doesn't seem like it's going to still continue to be more bleh. But we'll see. I'll continue reviewing. I'll continue hoping. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here though, because it's 9.5 minutes. I'm never a big fan of people who do like the reviews and it's longer than the actual episode. It's like I might as well just watch the episode. And this episode was, I think it was listed at 37 minutes. But you got your credits and such. But anyway, I'm just going to, kind of wrap this up here. If you've watched it, let me know what you think. Maybe you like it better than me. Maybe you like it worse than me. Hey, it's all subjective. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.